The finish line is why most people quit. Not because the goal was wrong, because they were using the finish line as fuel. And finish lines are the worst possible fuel for anything that takes longer than a month. I've been running on it for 10 weeks. Last week, I noticed it had run out. I'm still here. The work is still happening. And I have no idea how. This is the discipline experiment. 12 videos, 12 weeks. 47 projects abandoned before this one. Episode 10. 2 left. If you've ever started something motivated and quit once that motivation ran out, this one is for you. Last week, I finished an episode, watched it back, and thought, I actually like this. Not good enough, not this will perform well, just I like it. It felt like mine. And here's what I noticed in the 10 seconds after. I didn't open analytics, didn't check the last video's views, didn't think about whether anyone else would feel the same way. I just closed the laptop. That's never happened before in this series. Every other episode, I finished, felt a flicker of something, and immediately went looking for external confirmation that the flicker was justified. Not this time. When I sat with that, trying to understand it, I realized I couldn't find the thing I'd been running on for 9 weeks. The finish line. 12 episodes. Prove you're not a quitter. That was the fuel. I looked for it. It was gone. Not because I gave up. Because somewhere between episode 7 and now, I stopped needing it. And the work kept happening anyway. That should have felt like a victory. Instead, it felt like discovering your car has been driving without an engine and you're not sure what's actually moving it. I started trying to understand what happened, and I found something that made it worse before it made it better. Nassim Taleb calls it the narrative fallacy. The brain can't tolerate randomness, so it constructs clean stories to explain messy events, invents causation, makes it make sense. And it does this while things are happening, not just in hindsight. For 9 episodes, I've been building that clean story. But here's what actually happened. I didn't block analytics because I understood environment design. I blocked it because I was frustrated and found the research after and went, oh, that's what I did. I didn't build a content buffer strategically. I built it because I was overstimulated early and produced too much too fast. The system worked, but I didn't build it on purpose. I wasn't lying. My brain was doing what brains do, constructing a story that explains the chaos. Here's where I kept getting it wrong. I thought narrative fallacy meant the story was false. It doesn't. It means the story was functional. A scaffold isn't a lie. It's what you build to get somewhere real. It holds you up long enough to build something that does. Then you take it down. The finish line, 12 episodes, prove you're not a quitter. That was my scaffold. It got me started. It got me through the first 6 episodes when I had no other reason to keep going. Was it perfectly accurate? No. Did it work? Yes. The scaffold held long enough for something else to take over. And what took over? I only noticed it when the scaffold was already gone. The work became real on its own terms, not because the finish line validated it, not because anyone watched it, because I kept making it, and it kept mattering. And at some point, those 2 things were enough. A starting mechanism dressed up as a destination. One thing I want to be clear about, because this can go wrong. You could hear the finish line is just a scaffold and decide goals don't matter, that you should just follow what feels meaningful. That's not what I'm saying. The scaffold is load-bearing at the start. The mistake isn't using the finish line as fuel. It's only using it as fuel. The move is to build something underneath it while you're still using it, so that when it runs out, and it will, the work is already holding itself up. Most people never build that second layer. They call it losing motivation. What actually happened is they never had anything underneath. 2 moves. That's what I'm taking from this. Move 1. Let the scaffold do its job. Then let it go. Use the goal. Use the deadline. Use, I told people I'm doing this. External pressure is real, and it works. But don't mistake it for the foundation. It's the crane, not the building. When the goal stops generating the feeling it used to, that's not failure. That's the scaffold coming down. The question is whether you built something underneath it while you were distracted by the chase. Move 2. Find one moment where the work was real regardless of the outcome. Not it performed well. Not people liked it. A moment where you made something and it felt like yours, independent of what anyone else did with it. For me, it was closing the laptop without opening analytics. Yours might be smaller. A paragraph you didn't delete. A rep you did when nobody was watching. Find that moment. That's the second layer. That's what runs when the finish line runs out. Drop one thing in the comments that went right by accident. Something you didn't plan, didn't earn, just got. Because the people who admit the luck are the ones who can actually replicate the discipline. I don't know how much of this was discipline. I don't know how much was narrative, how much was luck. How much was just persistence running long enough for circumstances to cooperate? I might finish episode 12, look back, and realize the story I told about triggers and systems and learning how to not quit was mostly scaffolding. Useful scaffolding, but scaffolding. And here's what I've decided that means. It means the scaffolding worked. It got me here, to episode 10, 2 from the end. Still making something I didn't expect to care about this much. The finish line stopped feeling like the point somewhere around episode 7. I didn't notice until last week. And in the space where the finish line used to be, there's just the work. Real, imperfect, mine. I don't need the finish line to justify it anymore. Maybe that's what finishing actually requires. Not keeping your eyes on the end. Building something real enough that the end stops mattering. And then arriving there anyway. Episode 11 next week. 2 more to go. Still here. Still not sure what's moving it.